Okay, we are going to go ahead and get started with the webinar. Thank you so much for joining us today as we talk about our brand new feature, family accounts on Punchpass. We are going to be talking about how to use this feature, who has access, and getting into some of the actual nitty-gritty, logging in, using it, both from the admin and customer side. If you don't know me, I'm Victoria. I'm Director of Operations here at Punchpass, and we've been so excited about this feature. We've been wanting something like this for quite some time, and our dev team, I think, really did a nice job making something super simple and easy to use, but covers a lot of those features that people have been asking for. So it's live now, and we're going to walk through it, and hopefully you'll be able to go into your account and play around with it. So just kind of getting an overview of what we're going to talk about today. Going to talk about access to family accounts, where they're available. We're going to walk through how to add children from the admin side as well as the customer side. We're going to get into reservations, how you can make those both from the admin and customer side, and what that looks like when you're marking attendance, and how that should look and work on your end. We're going to get into the waivers feature, so how to support waivers for the parent account and the customer account and the child account. And also moving into family accounts. So if you've been using Punchpass and you sort of have your own workaround right now, how you might be able to make the switch to using this feature. And we'll take questions. Throughout our webinar, if you do have questions, please feel free to write in the chat, and we will respond to them at the end. But also, if you do have questions afterwards, if you're watching the recording back, or if you just, something comes later, feel free to message our team. You can reach out to us in the chat on your Punchpass account, or message us support@punchpass.com, and we'll be happy to get back to you. So let's get into it. So the first things first, in terms of access to family accounts, these are currently supported on our Banyan plan and our Redwood plan. So those are the two that we have available working with family accounts at this time. If you're on a different plan and you're interested in adding family accounts, but you're not quite sure and you're not really maybe ready to make the switch without testing it out first, please reach out to us at support. We'd be happy to get you on a trial of one of those plans to test it out and see how it works for you before making the switch officially. So just let us know. In terms of, what we're doing for, supporting parent and child accounts, we're really looking at really thinking about this as a family account. We have the parent, and then they're going to be able to add, or you're going to be able to add children underneath them. But everything is really, is all done through the parent account. That's the only one that needs an email address. That's where the login is going to happen. That's where all of the passes are going to reside. But within the parent account, we're going to see where the children reside and how you can keep an eye on all of that. We're going to talk through selecting who's the person who's going to be on the reservation and walking through what that looks like, as well as on attendance. I'm going to talk about how the waiver feature works and how you can support that for all of the people on the family account. And also standing reservations, because we do know that on occasion you have a class time and you have the same people who show up every week, and you want to support that, and how that works with child accounts. It's really super simple. Again, I think our team did an awesome job. So it's kind of a nice little overview. But I did want to mention, if you have children already set up as their own separate customer accounts, we have added a convert to child option, which I'm also going to demo for you. And it's really similar to merging customers. So you may have had to, you may have had in the past a situation where customers signed up with two different emails and you need to kind of put them into one. The process is fairly similar. There is a specific button you're going to want to click, and I'm going to show you where that is. But if you've done all this work to set up children separately, but you want to move them into a family account, we've made that easy so that you can convert them. But really, the focus of today is jumping into the system. Let's go live now into my demo account, where we can get a feel for family and child accounts in action. So first, we're going to talk about it from the admin side, and then we're going to head to the customer point of view. So from the admin side, you may have a customer who has a child and you want to add a child to their account. So I'm going to go ahead and click into one of our customers. And you'll notice here now you're used to maybe clicking into some of these tabs to check out more information about them or their history, see their waiver. We now have the Children tab. So under the Children tab, if there's no child on the account, we'll note that, and we'll show you the option to add a child. So when you go to add a child, keeping it pretty simple, we're adding name and birthday if you'd like. The reason being, we know a lot of times people have specific age ranges for their classes, so having a record of their birthday can be really nice. But we're going to go ahead and add the child, both their first and last name, and then option to add their birthday and keep that on the record. But we'll go ahead and click Add Child. So from here, you'll see now from the overview or the customer account will flag that there's a child on the account and the number. You can see them, do have the option to edit or remove a child if you need to. You'll also notice under waiver, we now have another person on the account. And so we are now having the option, the prompt to manage the waiver for that person. So this would be a time where you could, from the admin side, check it out. You'll see that the way that we phrase waivers, the parent signing for the child, you could send them a link to it. You can open it for them to review and sign if they're in person or if you have a record of it. So from the admin point of view, that is how you can pretty quickly add a child. I'm going to go into the customer point of view to show you how easy it is from the customer perspective. So I'm logged in as a customer. I've known Passes memberships, and underneath my name, this is where we could go into your profile and see my history, lots of different things. There's also now a Children tab. So I'll see that here. Don't currently have any children on my account, so I can go ahead and click to add a child. I'm going to add my cat, but we'll go ahead and set that up, and you could add, again, the customer can add their own children, add them to the account. And you'll notice if we're prompting for waivers, they'll be right away asked to sign and review that waiver form for their child. You'll see here that the parent's name is in parentheses. If we're using the predefined signature, the parent's name is going to pull up, so they can also sign. We'll go ahead and do that for our child. So it's pretty simple, as you can see, to quickly add children to a parent account. From there, we make it super easy as well to make reservations. So I'm the parent on the account, I'm looking at classes, and I'm interested in booking. When I go to click on a class to book, assuming I have a pass that's eligible, I'll have the option to make reservation for anyone under my account, so myself or my child. So I can go ahead and click reserve my spot and book that particular person on my account, my child, into the account. You'll see under my reservations, we're going to flag that this is a reservation for the child. So we'll see that upcoming and have that on the record within my parent account. I'm going to now switch back into the admin view because I wanted to show you what that might look like when you're marking attendance. So now that I'm the instructor, I'm going to mark attendance for my class. I'm going to see here the name of the child and then the name of the parent in parentheses. So I'm going to have that, pretty obviously the whole goal is that you know who's coming to the class. We know that it's the child and we know who the parent is. So we have access to them. If we do click on this, it's going to take me to the parent account. And that's where I can then go and see the child on the account. When we look at the upcoming reservations from the customer account here within the admin view, I'm also going to see that flag and we'll be able to click into that class and see that. The important thing about family accounts when you're thinking about attendances and reservations is that it is really truly underneath the parent account. So any pass on the parent account is going to be, where it's going to pull for attendance. So when I'm marking attendance, the pass that's getting used or the membership, it's going to be under the parent account. So when I click into that, I can see the membership. Yes, it's linked to me as the parent. But if I click on, and see the class, I'll see that, it is for my child. So we do have the record of all of that in the system. So it is tied to the parent account as well as the child underneath. And that is just a pretty general overview of some of the major functionality here. The other thing I wanted to highlight in terms of creating children is that we know we have a lot of users who are working with Punchpass and they maybe have a different way of handling children at the moment. So for instance, we have John and we have Odie. John is the parent, Odie is the child, and maybe we've just had this sort of account just so that we kind of have a record of, maybe we've used it to sign a waiver, maybe we use it just to have some information about that person, maybe we flagged that that child. And now that we have this feature, you might want to work with both. You might want to say, okay, we've made this customer account for this child, but we really like to make them truly a child on this account. So it's very similar to our merge feature. If you've used the merge feature before, under the info tab, under the more drop down, you're going to see the option, you'll see our merge option as well, but you'll see the option to merge, to convert customer to a child. So I can click on this option. And I do want to do this from the customer that's moving to be a child. So we're going to identify, that's where we're starting. We're going to select the parent customer. Do that right away. So there they are. We always want to review, kind of what's going to copy over. So new child's getting created. We're going to have their name, their birthday would get added. Any active passes on the account get moved to the parent. Any reservations will be for the child. Attendance is, marked for the child. Purchases, again, will be transferred to the parent. So we'll have a record of that. There is some information that isn't copied over because it's not specific to something that we have on the child account anymore. So you have the option to review all of that and make the decision. And here we've decided that we're feeling pretty comfortable. We're going to convert it to a child. Now notice that the old account is not deleted right away. So you have some time in case there's an issue, but we'll go ahead and click Convert Customer to Child. So now under the parent account, we have the child added. Two children on this account, and that's the two flag. But if we go back into our customers, we're going to see a note saying that this account has already been merged and converted to a child now. So we can, from here, delete that old account. So if it's not relevant and we've moved them to the child and we're happy with that, we will go ahead and delete. So now we have that parent, we flag that they have children. If you're an admin and you're now like, great, I'm actually going to make a reservation for someone, for a child, you can do that very, very similarly to how we did it from the customer point of view. But here we're going to make a reservation for a particular child on the account. And basically we just select who we're creating the reservation for, and we can put them into a series. We can book them into a particular individual class. We could select a number of classes we want to book them into and make the reservation for that child. So a lot of similar functionality that you should be familiar with if you're using Punchpass already, but we've just added the ability to have multiple sort of family members on this account. Now, so that's speaking of reservations and how to make reservations from the admin point of view. Sometimes you might have a recurring class and you have your regulars who are in the class all the time. And so you set up standing reservations for them. I'm going to go ahead and click into reports and click on standing reservations. So from standing reservations, we are going to be able to make them for children. So if I click add new standing reservation onto the person, I'm going to be able to type in and find or scroll through and find the children listed separately. Yes, they're under their parent account, but we can make a standing reservation for a child. The email is going to be associated with the parent account, but you can then select the class type, and we can, just as you might set a standing reservation for anyone, I'll leave that blank, we can go ahead and create a standing reservation for the child. So you'll notice here, we note in the report that it is a child. You can see that pretty clearly up front. And when we click into it, it's going to take us to the parent account. So a lot of really simple moves that we've added that are similar to how you would experience the system in a lot of other ways, making reservations, marking attendance. We're just really nesting the children underneath the parent account and making that really easy to see, really easy to track, and keep an eye on. So again, we're feeling pretty happy with that. You can see again, we love flagging and making sure you can see the child in the account and what's child activity versus parent activity, and when it comes to reservations and attendances. So that just about covers the major features and the major walkthrough I wanted to do when it comes to family accounts. There's not a whole lot of challenges here. We try to make it super easy to make the switch, or super easy for a parent to just log in and see, oh, there's a child option. I can add my kids and take classes. I can help them with their waiver. I can keep an eye on everything and manage everything for them. And you as the admin or the instructor will have that view and visibility, so you can see everything that you might need to see. Keeping an eye on what's going on when you have a child come in, and knowing who their parent is and seeing that in the roster will hopefully make your lives a lot easier as you manage children and family accounts. So I really would love to hear from anyone. If you have any questions or would like to see anything, back in the account, I can jump back in and show you something. If you'd like to see something specific to family accounts, if you'd like to, if you have a question about something that you handle, I'd love to hear it. So if you could head on into our chat and let us know if you have any questions. We'll give it a minute. Oh, okay. Awesome. So I'm going to head back into, I'm going to head back in here. Question about reports. So now that we have an attendance here of a child, we're going to go ahead and check our attendances by date range. So this is most recent here. So within your attendance reports, you'll see the parent account, but you will see over on the end, we've added a field to show the child name. So this will be blank if they're attending for themselves, but if it is a child attending, we are going to highlight that in the child name, and that's going to be available if you download that or if you need to grab that information. When it comes to something like purchases, those are all within the parent account, so those will look the same just underneath the parent. But when it comes to attendances, and if it is a child, we are going to highlight that, that child's name in the attendances by date range report. When it comes to an upcoming reservation, I think we currently have that still under the parent. But again, when you go into any of those classes, we are going to highlight parent and the child. So you'll see that there. Awesome. Back here, see if we have any other questions. So in terms of, so great question. Thanks for writing in. In terms of having both people under one account. So in the past, you might have just said, let's go into the system here. You might have said, you might have had a customer set up maybe with like Mark, you know, something like this, where you might have already made a customer with a child attached to it. So you might have kind of said, okay, well, they're sort of both in this one account, and that's how you've set it up so that they're all kind of within one. Again, kind of up to you. My recommendation, if I had something set up like this, where I had parent and a child all together in one account, I might then take the opportunity to set up a child for them. So for instance, if child is Mark, could add again the birth date if we have one, and then I would edit the customer and set it to be Jenna. So the parent would be now the record, and underneath would be the child. So basically, the only thing that would be a little different moving forward is you would have a record of this is the child attending versus the parent, you know, kind of attached to that attendance. But in terms of everything else you've been handling in that account, with the, you know, two of them using it in the same way, or just kind of highlighting that the parent was on there or that the child was on there, you could add the child and sort of disconnect it a little bit. They'll still be pretty close and pretty connected, but at least in this scenario, you know, you'd be able to have like a waiver for the child. You could have the birth date separate for the child. You could, when people are, you know, booking, specifically note that this is the child attending. So there are some benefits of moving it to a parent and child relationship in the account, just because of that functionality. Oh, I've done that. All right. So that's another way that, you know, if you've been working around the system and kind of having two people just sort of be the account, you could pull the child out and sort of make them a child within their account. That was a great question. Thank you so much. Because, you know, we know since we haven't had this functionality that people are, you know, have been creative with how they're setting things up and how they're using the system. But hopefully we've made it really simple and easy for you to now add and manage children on the account so that parents find it easy to do. You have increased functionality for the different individuals on the account, and it will be a little bit easier to manage. All right. If we have any other questions here. I think that might be everything. So, as a reminder, if anything comes up, as you're thinking about it, as you start using family accounts in Punchpass, please feel free to reach out to us in our chat or email us support@punchpass.com. We'd be so happy to work with you on this and help you make family accounts a reality in your setup. But thank you all so much for your time and for joining me today or joining me on a recording. And we definitely hope to hear from you soon. Let us know how family accounts work out for you.